All right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. These are, of course, strange times to be celebrating anything, but I thought we would build our class today around honoring the Earth and the great ecosystem of which we are an integral part, and all of the beings that we share this planet with. So let's start just coming into a yogic seat, finding your long spine, roll the shoulders down and back, and let your heart open and spread wide, and take a few slow, deep breaths. And I know the audio here might be less than ideal, but hopefully the spirit of the song will come through as we honor our place in the circle of all beings. Nice and slow and deep with each exhale, letting go of any tension in the shoulders, in the face, in the belly, anywhere, maybe in the hips, anywhere that you need to let go and release. And using that exhale also to let go of any distraction in the mind or in the heart. May I walk in beauty. May I walk in peace. May I walk in beauty. May I walk in peace. All my relations, all my relations, all life is sacred, the mountains and the seas. All life is sacred, the animals and the trees. All my relations, all my relations. May I walk in beauty, may I walk in peace, may I walk in beauty, may I walk in peace. All my relations, all my relations. And when you're ready, I invite you to come to standing. We'll be doing a standing invocation. So come to stand and find which way is east in your space where you are. We'll begin facing east. As I face forward and face you in my space, that's east. And bring your feet hip width apart into your mountain pose, feet firmly rooted in the earth, crown of the head lifting to the sky, nice open heart. And this opening invocation is an opportunity to connect with that circle of all beings that we share this planet with, and all of the elements that surround us and live within us. So we'll begin honoring the, facing east, honoring the element of air. Just first taking a moment to notice, place one hand on the low belly, one hand on the heart, and notice how the breath moves within you. Our most intimate connection with the element of air. Following that wave of breath that moves from belly, up through the rib cage, up into the chest, pause at the top to feel the fullness. Exhale all the way down, emptying in the opposite direction, emptying chest, ribs, And belly, pulling the navel in toward the spine. And honoring this element of air, the breath that moves within us and the breath around us, the breath of life, the breath of spirit, the vast expanse of the sky, the wind, the clouds. So let the next breath lift your arms, sweeping out to the side and up to the sky. And on the exhale, bend the knees, round the spine, bring the chin to the chest. Completely exhale and find your big full range of breath, sweeping motions, bringing the movement and the awareness on the breath together. Connecting with that vast expanse of the sky and all of the winged ones that we share that sky with. From the great eagles to the tiny sparrows to the little hummingbirds, all of those winged ones. Connecting with that breath of life within us and all around us, bringing the hands together and draw them down to the heart center. Gratitude to the sky and the wind and the air and all the creatures therein. And taking a quarter turn to face whatever direction for you is south. It may look opposite when you look at me. Honoring the element of fire, and our perhaps most direct way that we connect with that element is through the sun, that great source of energy that nourishes all plant life. So taking some deep sweeping breaths, bring that ujjayi breath into the back of the throat. So gently narrow the airway so that you can feel the brushing of the breath in the back of the throat. Slowing down the breath and warming up the breath as it comes into your lungs. Honoring the sun, that great source of nourishment, the sun that touches every leaf on every tree, every blade of grass, and the miracle of photosynthesis that creates food for the plants and food for us. So we're connecting with the circle of life and honoring the sun. That is that life-giving source to all of the plants that nourish us. Palms together and draw them back to the heart. With gratitude to the south and the sun and all of the plant life that it touches. And taking a quarter turn, you'll just see me from the back, but I am facing the direction of west, honoring the element of water, taking some deep breaths here, with arms reaching wide as the oceans, connecting with the oceans and the rivers and the lakes, from the tiniest raindrop to the vast, widest sea. Water is around us and everywhere and is teeming with life. All the fish, the dolphins, the whales, all the scaled ones, the turtles, the water snakes, and our bodies, every cell in our body depends on water. We're about 65 or more % water. So breathing in that acknowledgement of water within us and around us, and that life-giving nourishment of water and all the beings that live within our water ecosystems, hands back to the heart. Taking a quarter turn to face the north. Honoring the ground, the earth that we walk upon. From the sand to the rocks to the mountains, from the tiniest grain of sand to the grandest mountains. And all of the beings that walk upon the earth with us, all the four-leggeds, the mammals, the rodents, from the greatest elephants to the tiny mice, to the tiny insects that condition the soil, and the animals that fertilize the soil. So we have this beautiful symbiotic relationship with them as they nourish us. honoring every place we stand, every place on earth as sacred ground, bringing the hands together, palms back to the heart, and all the beings that are our neighbors. Taking a quarter turn, full circle. Take whatever stance you can take to face me so that you can see your screen. And coming back full circle. There is one more element in the yoga tradition, in the yogic science, and in Ayurveda, and that is the element of ether, or stillness and space. So just taking a moment with hands at the heart, coming into that stillness and silence that is the great container that holds all life, all movement, all energy. And the one mantra that connects us with that stillness and silence and space is the sound of Om. So taking a deep breath in, let's together join our voices in the sound of Om. Om. Then bringing your hands to your thighs, come into a gentle squat here. We'll take some standing cat-cow. I'm going to turn sideways just so you can see the movement of the spine and the pelvis here. You're going to spread your heart on the inhale, pulling the shoulders back, tilt the tailbone back. Exhale, chin to chest, pull the navel in. Full range of breath, full range of motion in your spine and pelvis. Letting that ujjayi breath sweep the back of the throat. When you come into that exhale, really tuck the tail under, bringing the pubic bone forward and drawing the navel in. You can round your shoulders. So you're coming into spinal extension on the inhale and spinal flexion on the exhale. One more. And letting the arms reach and rise, interlace your fingers in temple pose. And we'll take 3 pulses to one side. I'll mirror you. You're going to go to your right, 3 pulses. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, side bend into your half moon. Inhale, straight up, same side now. Exhale. So you can get a little bit deeper. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, other side. Same side. Just a little bit deeper. Reaching with those fingertips over toward your right, pressing the left hip out to the left. Inhale up to center, and other side now. Straight up and same side, going a little bit deeper, expanding and spreading through the ribs on your right side. And other side. And I keep saying other side, and I'm not done yet on this side. I'm used to going side to side, but we're doing it a little differently this time. And lift up. And float the arms down. Feel the energy and aliveness and tingling and warmth in the arms. And circle the shoulders one way. And other way, circle the other way. And then the hands clasp in yoga mudra behind you, arms straight. If you need to use a strap to give yourself a little bit more space between your hands, you can do that. Spread the heart nice and wide, bring the shoulder blades toward the center. Big breath, and then a generous bend in the knees as you fold over the legs, keeping the belly and the thighs connected. Hands reach to the sky, head releases to the earth. And just take a few breaths here to see if you can find a gentle pulse, softening the knees on the inhale and straightening the legs just a little more, maybe even just a millimeter on the exhale. Keeping your belly and thighs connected. Let the head be loose and the crown of the head releasing to the earth. And then unclasp the hands and let them come down to frame your feet. Couple more breaths in your forward bend. Lifting sacrum a little bit higher. And then taking a half lift, slide the fingertips up toward just below the knees, nice and long. I'm going to turn sideways just so you can see what a flat back looks like here, and engage the navel in and up to corset the spine. All of the abdominal muscles draw in toward the center, and long from the tip of the tail to the crown of the head. Big inhale as you lengthen a little bit more, and then fold over the legs. Soften your knees as you need to. From here, heel, toe, the feet to as wide as your mat. Turn the toes out 45 degrees. Bend the knees a little bit and roll up one vertebra at a time, stacking one bone on top of the other. Roll the shoulders down and back. Hands on the hips, just begin to circle your hips. Keep the shoulders steady over your hips and just let the movement be in the pelvis and low back here. Connecting with that watery element within you. Every single one of these poses is an opportunity to connect with the energy of those different elements. Connecting with how we're rooted into the earth, the strength of the legs, how we root the tailbone down, connecting with breath and how air moves through us and energizes us. Try circling the other way. Connecting with water and how we can invite a sense of fluidity and gracefulness. Even in those really strong, firm poses, we can invite in that sense of gracefulness as well. It might even just be an attitude of mind. And connecting with the fire of burning enthusiasm for our practice. Coming back to stillness here, we'll take empty coat sleeves. So have some softness in your knees. You're going to inhale through the nose when you're centered, and exhale with a strong belly breath, drawing the navel in and up as you come into the twist. Arms just hang at your sides, empty coat sleeves. We'll first just begin finding the movement as the arms swing side to side. We're not using the muscles in the arms, we're using the momentum of the torso. Opposite heel lifts, and your head follows your heart, side to side. And go slow enough so that you can actually find that rhythm of breathing. Inhale, center. Exhale, ha, 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 ha. Keep going. Don't be afraid to make a little bit of noise as you're home alone in your living room or bedroom or wherever you are. Give it all you got. Ha! Expel that stagnant, stale energy. Ha! This oxygenates the blood, massages the internal organs, and moves that life energy through you. Ha! 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 And slowly bring it back to center. Let that exhale kind of melt into a sigh. And just take a moment to pause and feel all the prana moving through you. And then heel, toe, the feet to hip width apart. We're going to bring the hands, we're going to come once again into a squat, a gentle squat. And we're going to do another prana increasing kriya called the pulling prana. So I'm going to turn sideways so you can see. So you're in this gentle squat, you're going to reach forward as if you're drawing life energy right into your belly center. So inhale, exhale, tilt the hips forward with a ha. Now, it's not a bouncing up and down, so you're going to keep that. It's just basically a pelvic tilt forward and back. So you can even just try this with your hands on your hips. So you're going to stay with knees gently bent and just tilt forward and back. Inhale and exhale. Ha! So pull it in and expel that stagnation. Ha! Ha! In through the nose, ha. Out through the mouth, ha. Expelling air from the belly, ha. 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 Reach for it. Ha. 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 With gusto. Ha. 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 Slow it down. Ha. Ha. Let it melt into a sigh. Ha. One more. Ha. And arms reach and rise. Palms come together, draw them back to the heart, and just pause and feel. And then once more, bring the hands to the thighs. Now, this is something that if you have a full stomach, you probably don't want to do. Hopefully, you didn't just eat your breakfast. We're going to do engaging the Uddiyana Bandha or abdominal lift, which massages the internal organs and helps strengthens the abdominal muscles too, and helps train us to create that abdominal lift that we need to support us in many of these poses. So I'm going to just give you a little better view of what it looks like. All right, I don't know if this is going to stay. We're going to take a deep breath in, and you're going to squeeze out all the breath. You're going to hold your breath out, and you're going to lift your navel in and up. It's like you're taking a breath in, but you're actually not going to open the glottis. So you're actually keeping the throat closed so the breath can't come in, but you're using those breathing muscles as if you're taking a breath, and that's going to cause that abdominal lift. So it looks like this. Inhaling, exhale, squeeze out all the breath and round the shoulders. I don't know if you can see very well here, but and you'd bring the chin to the chest. So you want to create what's called Mahabandha, which is lifting the pelvic floor. Uddiyana Bandha, which means fly up so that the belly draws in and up. And then chin to chest creates chin lock. So you've got all of the bandhas, or these locks, that contain the prana. So I don't know if this is a great angle to see, but we'll try it again. Those of you who want to do this, you may cough a little bit because the lungs get so compressed when they're completely empty like that. But what basically the diaphragm is getting sucked and drawn right up under the ribs there as you completely exhale. So take a deep breath in, exhale completely, squeeze out all the breath, squeeze out a little more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and then hold. Press into the thighs, chin to chest. Use the muscles as if you're taking a breath, but don't let any air in. Holding empty. And when the need to take a breath is strong, slowly release. You don't want to come up gasping for air. You just want to be reasonable about how long you hold your breath. And just take some long, slow, sweeping breaths here to normalize your breathing. I'm going to do one more this time. The option is to do belly pumping, or Agni Sara, which is, Agni means fire. We're talking about the fire of digestion. So this massages the internal organs a little bit more. I will demonstrate. Deep breath in. I'm going to take that same Uddiyana Bandha, but then you're going to hold the breath out and you're going to pump the belly. I'll show you. You probably don't want to do this if you are pregnant or if you have food in your belly. So I'll give you an opportunity to try that with me. Some of you might have done it with me, but we'll try it one more time together. Inhale, exhale, squeeze out all the breath. Squeeze it out a little more, completely empty out. Use those muscles to take a mock inhale, and then holding the breath out, pump in and out. This breaks up adhesions of connective tissue between the different organs in your abdominal cavity. Maybe you'll only be able to get 4 or 5 pumps. Eventually you'll work up to get about 20. It takes some practice. All right, take a deep breath in. And exhale. Just bring one hand to the low belly, one hand to the heart. Follow that wave of breath. Reconnect again with your 3-part breaths. Dirga pranayama. And just take a moment to notice the effect of these practices on your energy level, on your mind state. And then let the eyes open, soft gaze. We're going to come into tree pose. I'm going to take a little balance play to start. So you might, I'll mirror you here. You can take your left knee to point it straight out, right foot roots down, the right leg gets nice and firm and strong like the trunk of a tree, hands to the heart. And again, every pose is an opportunity to connect with the energy of those 4 elements. So feel yourself rooted like a tree. Feel the winds of prana replenishing you with every breath. And that fire of what's called tapas, or the fire of self-discipline or burning enthusiasm for your practice. And see if you can also invite in some gracefulness. Taking tree either with hands in temple pose, or opening your branches to the sky, or keeping your hands at the heart. The gracefulness is a softness of mind. It may seem contradictory that you're going to be creating firmness and softness at the same time, but all of those qualities work in concert with one another together within us in everything we do. And as you're ready, opening your wings and coming into crane pose. Same side, just lifting your left knee to hip height, soften your elbows and wrists so your arms are not stiff. Here's where you can find that fluidity and gracefulness, the element of water in this pose. And then from crane, we're going to step back, gracefully step back onto the ball of your back foot, into a lunge, into a balancing warrior, either bringing your hands once again into that warrior-like, sword-like pose, interlaced fingers, or into a celebrative warrior. The hips are facing straight ahead. And again, this is a balancing warrior, so in the ball of your back foot. Inhale, reach. Exhale, hands back behind you. Interlace your fingers, open wide through the heart as the shoulder blades squeeze toward the center of the spine. If you want to arch back and look up, you're going to bring the inner thighs active toward the midline to stabilize yourself. Big breath in. Exhale, frame that front foot. You're in a high lunge now, and place your left hand down under your shoulder. Right hand rises to the sky. So you take your revolved side angle twist. Grow long and wide. And hands frame that front foot. Step back into your plank pose. Firm plank. Root your tailbone toward the back of your mat. And I'm going to turn sideways so you can see me here. Moving into exhale, knees, chest, chin. Butt up in the air, toes curled under, draw the heart forward, take your baby cobra to start. Root down through the tops of the feet, draw shoulders back, heart forward. Exhale, pressing up through table, take a nice cat stretch and take it into child's pose first, just to stretch the upper back and shoulders and upper arms. Letting the sit bones sink back toward the heels. Nice big breaths, beginning with an expanding belly, expanding into your ribs and up into your chest, and exhaling in reverse. Next inhale, rising up into table, toes curl under, press back to your downward facing dog. Take a few breaths to open up into your downward facing dog, maybe taking your dog for a slow walk. Maybe it feels good to flow from plank back into dog with breath. Whatever your warm up is that feels good. Lifting one hip and then the other. As you bend one knee side to side. Lots of deep breath here. And then from here, bend the knees and either walk, step, or take a little hop to bring your feet to forward fold. Feet between the hands, fold over the legs. See how your forward bend feels now. Is there any more length in the backs of the legs? Let the head be loose. And soften the knees, arms reach out to the horizons, up to the sky, palms come back together to the heart. Taking your tree on the other side. Tree can be foot inside thigh or inside calf, or even just taking a sapling pose with your toes on the floor if you're needing that stability. It's a hip opener, so you want to root your tail straight down, bring the pubic bone forward a little and the knee right out to the side. Let your hands play with whatever you explored on the other side. Connecting with your inner fire of self-discipline, gracefulness and fluidity, rootedness into the earth, life-giving breath. Coming into your crane pose when you're ready. Feeling that wind beneath your wings. And here in crane pose, you can have a little softness, a little micro bend in the standing leg. Breathing in and out through the nose, nice and slow and deep. And then we're gonna step it back into a balancing warrior one. Find the expression of arms that feels authentic for you and joyful in your shoulders. So either nice and wide and celebrative, or sword-like and fierce, or maybe even hands at the hips. Wonder Woman warrior. So here the pelvis is tilted so that it comes to a neutral position and the tailbone roots down. That's your connection with earth. Breath and reaching arms is connection with sky, with air. And where can you soften? Find some fluidity and grace, water. And feel that fire center, your solar plexus area here, which is what we engage energetically when we come into any of the warrior pose. Hands back behind you, open the heart nice and wide. Arch back if you can, if that's available, and release coming into your lunge, your high lunge. You're going to place one hand down, the other hand up. So in this case, right hand down, left hand up. Press out through the back heel, grow long and wide like the rays of the sun. Exhale, release, step back into your plank pose, flow through your vinyasa. Now, if you want to take it into a fuller cobra, that feels available, you can do that. Soften the shoulders, spread through the heart. Exhale, release, press up to table or plank, come into your downward facing dog. And then softening the knees. Take a little hop forward or step, coming into your forward bend. Let's take it into the chair pose, dropping the hips halfway. Hands to the heart or forward, or for a little bit more fire, reach the hands to the sky. Can you connect with all of those elements within you right here? The fire of determination. The energizing, pranifying breath. The winds that move through you. Rooting with strong legs down into the earth. Feeling that support. And where can you find the softness? Right here. Might just be a mental attitude. The gracefulness. And one more breath. And then reach and rise. Palms together, back to the heart. Deep breath. And release. Next, inhale, arms reach and rise, arch back, heart, hands, gaze skyward, and dive forward. Forward bend. Here, step back all the way into plank, or you can hop back if that feels more fun for you, to come into a high plank, top of a push-up. Flowing through your vinyasa as you enjoy, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga to upward facing dog. So cobra or up dog here. Shoulders pull back, heart leads, and roll over the toes back into downward facing dog. Now that Uddiyana Bandha that we practiced in the beginning of our class, or a little earlier, that abdominal lift, can be engaged slightly here. Since you're breathing, you won't be able to do it as deeply as we did it before when we exhaled all the breath. But you want to train your abdominal muscles to find that little lift which supports you in the pose, strengthens your belly muscles there. Let the heart sink down toward the mat. Lift the sacrum a little bit higher. Feel how that lengthens and activates the backs of the legs. Heels reach into the earth. Lift long through the right leg. Lift it high. Three-legged dog. Step it through into low lunge. Sliding left knee back, soften your shoulders and lengthen your spine. Arms reach and rise. And then bring the palms together and take it into a prayer twist. And you can either do forearm to thigh, right hand to sacrum, fingers pointing down, if you want a gentler expression of this, or hands in prayer. Upper arm outside the knee for leverage there. You can curl your back toes under, float up into high lunge if that feels available. Rolling right shoulder open, look up at the sky. Strong active thighs drawing toward midline. Release the hands, frame that front foot. Step back into plank, flow through vinyasa as you enjoy. Meeting in downward facing dog, it's always fine to take child's pose instead. If you just need to come into a rest here, that's always available. Once again, engaging that little abdominal lift, gentle Uddiyana Bandha here. Navel draws in and up. And we'll take three-legged dog on this side, lifting long through the left leg, push away, down and away into the fingers and thumbs. Step it through, low lunge. As the inner thighs power up toward the center, sweep the hands forward and up. Spin the pinkies inward, drop the shoulders, kneeling warrior. Rooted in earth, fire in the belly. Where can you invite in gracefulness, even in a warrior pose? Lots of breath, energizing breath, life-giving breath. And then take it into your prayer twist or forearm to thigh, whatever variation you're exploring here. Back toes can curl under, float up, or not, only if it feels fun for you and doable for you. Always fine to change the twist to a revolve side angle if you're needing that support. Hands frame the front foot. Step back into plank one more time. Flow through vinyasa as you enjoy. And then from here, bend the knees, take a little hop or walk to bring your feet between your hands, forward bend. Sit back down in your chair pose, connecting with all of those energies of earth, water, fire, and air right here, right now. And the circle of all beings that share that breath with you. It's all a symbiotic exchange of energy. And arms reach and rise, palms come together, return to center, return to the heart. Turn to face the long end of your mat, feet as wide as the length of one of your legs, from heel to heel, and toes turn out 45 degrees. Come into your 5-pointed star. Actually here, just want to take a moment to put one block on one side and one block on the other side if you have blocks. They may be useful for this next sequence. So you've got your nice wide 5-pointed star. Coming into that spirit of embracing that circle of all beings. We're going to come into the goddess pose. You can think of Mama Gaia, Mother Goddess that embraces every one of us, every creature, from the tiniest insect to the great blue whale, all held in her embrace. The plant life, the winged ones, the creepy crawly ones, even the viruses are part of nature, just the way it is. Deep breath, nice and wide. Exhale into your Mama Gaia, Mother Goddess. So that's, celebrate her as Earth Goddess today. So the outside edge of your thighs draw back behind you. You want to have your spine, I'm just turning sideways for the view here, rather than being sway backed here, where you jut your belly forward and tilt your tail back. See if you can bring pubic bone forward and root the tail down. So it's if your back is against the wall. Let's take this movement with breath, opening up into that wide embrace of all beings. Exhaling, celebrating Mama Gaia that nourishes us all, sometimes in a very fierce way. Inhale, opening wide. Exhale, Mama Gaia. Inhale, wide embrace of the mother. Exhale, Mama Gaia. And from here, see if we can bring your left arm underneath your right, taking your eagle arms. Fingertips to the sky. Elbows lift to shoulder height or above. Keep those strong goddess legs. Root your tailbone down into the earth. Unwind, open up into your embracing all beings. Exhale back into goddess. This time, right arm comes underneath, eagle arms. You want to try to bring your thighs to parallel to the floor if you can. If that doesn't work for you, it's fine to take a modified version. Opening up, big wide embrace. And turn your toes to face straight ahead. So the outer edges of your feet are parallel to the short ends of your mat. Take a half forward bend. Grow long from the tip of your tail to the top of your head. Maybe even taking your hands and pressing into your thighs to invite that length. Uddiyana Bandha here. Need to still breathe, but create that abdominal lift. And then airplane arms, if that feels available. Feel the backs of the legs power up, sit bone spread. And fold forward into a wide leg forward bend. Find your breath here. We're going to walk the hands over to your right. So lift up halfway, pivot the feet and pivot the hands, and come into a lizard lunge. So you're going to bring your right hand inside your right foot. Now your lizard could be a high lunge lizard here, just slithering forward and back, or you can bring your back knee down if you're needing that support. You can come down onto your forearms if that feels accessible to you. Sometimes using a block as a little shelf here can open up that possibility for you. Other way you can explore this pose is to roll onto the outer edge of your right foot, turning your right knee out to the side to open the hip, and you can control how deep you let your pelvis come down toward the floor with your hands. You can be on palms or forearms, back knee lifted or down. If your back knee is lifted, you really want to keep that back knee crease lifting high to the sky and press out through the heel. Oh yeah, one more breath here. And then pressing into the hands to lift the hips. Come and straddle that front leg with, your right leg in this case, with your hands. Back foot can step up a little bit closer. You're taking a runner stretch here. Square the hips toward the side of your mat, which is straight in front of you right now. And then from here, you can take that block, turn it to the medium setting, bring your hands to frame the corners of the block, bend your front knee and spring off right into your warrior three. You can either stay with your hands on the block, just working on finding that long horizontal line through the body. Your lifted leg, knee points straight down, toes point straight down. Or if it's available, well, you can play with airplane arms, or coming into your full expression of warrior three, or you can take it opening the hips, rolling open into your half moon, if that feels accessible to you. If you want something gentler, you can just lower the back knee and take it into a lunge, maybe lunge and runner stretch, kneeling runner stretch sequence. So whatever feels doable here, opening up into your balancing half moon if that feels joyful for you. And when you're ready to release, your hips are going to face straight down and slowly float that left leg down into lunge, and let your fingers do the walking, pivoting all the way around through your wide leg forward bend. Just take a little pause here and then move it to the other side. I'm going to come into lizard on this side. So both hands are on the inside of your foot. You can slither forward and back, or have your knee down if that feels better. You can open out to the side with that left knee so you can see the bottom of your foot. And come down onto forearms. I'm kind of doing this in fast forward just to remind you of the possibilities, but you take your time with it. Take your time. You can always use that shelf. Lots of breath. Send the breath into any places where there's tightness. Remember, every single pose is an opportunity to just play with how it can invite some opening. So that's where that water element comes in, that dancing with it a little bit, creating some fluidity. It's not just putting yourself into a stiff mold. It's a lot of room for inquiry here. And then as you're ready, you can straighten your left leg. Bring your back foot a little bit closer so you can come into your Parshvottanasana, standing runner stretch. Squaring your hip, so that means that the hip crease on your extended leg here, your front leg, your left leg, is going to draw back. Right hip crease going to draw forward, long through the spine. So you don't want to go into Shalampasana here. If you need to use a block to give yourself a little bit of lift, you can do that. Uddiyana Bandha supports this pose. And fold over that leg. When you're ready, you can spring right off into your warrior three. Again, that abdominal lift supports the pose. Hips level, and play with it as you did on the other side. Maybe just bringing hands by your side might feel a little bit more doable. There's a slight micro bend in the standing leg, so you're not going to hyperextend your knee. And when it's available, if it's available, opening up into your balancing half moon. Strong core supports this as well. Find the two lines of energy through the body, the horizontal line, the vertical line. Remember that line goes right through the crown of your head, so you don't want to let your head fall down. So you're going to go from heel to head on the horizontal line. When you're ready to release, turning your hips to face down, float the back leg down. And from here, walk the hands back around to come back into wide leg forward bend. Prasarita Padottanasana. We'll take it into a twist here. So let's walk the hands all the way over to the right again. And take your left hand and grab either around your left ankle, your left hand around the right ankle, I'm mirroring you, or around the outside edge of the foot, or anywhere on the lower leg. And then opposite hand, the right hand lifts up, drawing the belly in close to the thigh on the right side. Upper hand comes down, walk it over to the other side. Opposite hand to ankle, foot, or anywhere on the lower leg. Lift up with the left hand. Try to stack your left shoulder on top of your right. Heart turns toward the edges of your mat, outer edges of your mat. And release. Walk back to center. Pivot on the heels, toes turn out 45. Bend the knees, roll up. Once more back into your beautiful Mama Gaia. Take a moment to celebrate her any way you want with a little bit of goddess dance. Here's where you can invite in that fluidity, that playfulness, gracefulness. Anything that intuitively feels good. Maybe you want to take a little more side stretch here, keeping your goddess legs. And then opening wide into your five-pointed star. Palms come together, gather in back to the heart. And heel toe, back to hip width apart. Coming into mountain, just pause and feel. And come down to your mat when you're ready, hugging your knees in toward your ribs. And take a moment to rock side to side. If it feels good to do some spinal rocking from your sitting bones to your shoulders, you can take some rock and roll here. Just finding the kind of self-massage that feels good for you. Let it rock and roll. Lots of breath. And then finding your place of stillness on the mat. I'm going to invite you to come into your expression of an inversion, whether it be just legs up in the air, maybe your block underneath your sacrum, legs in the air, just taking a few breaths to reset here. Or if you want to come into your shoulder stand and plow. I like to start in my plow and then come up into shoulder stand, which is not really easy to do when I have this headset on. Maybe a modified shoulder stand with a bend in the hips so that you support yourself on your shoulders and upper arms more. Takes the pressure off the neck. Some of you may have a headstand practice that you'd like to explore. Maybe using the wall in your space. Even just coming into the plow pose is a wonderful inversion because the lower part of your belly is higher than your head. So all those organs in the lower abdominal cavity get some of the pressure and the weight taken off of them, and the fluids get to drain. And plow can also be taken bent knee if need be, so that your inside of your knees frame your face. Some of you may want to come right from your shoulder stand and plow exploration right into your bridge pose. If that sequence is available, you can take that. We'll be doing bridge together in a moment. And when you're ready to bring your inversion sequence to a close, let's meet down on the mat in Shavasana for a moment. Just to integrate what you've just done. It's traditional after doing the shoulder stand plow, the shoulder stand pose and the plow pose, to come into the fish, because it moves the upper spine, the cervical spine, the neck area, and a different, the opposite movement, where it's really compressed tightly in flexion when you're in shoulder stand and plow. This brings it into deep extension and also expands nice and wide through the heart. So you're going to imagine that a string is lifting your heart to the sky when you do this. There's a golden cord tied around your heart, and the heavenly beings are tugging on it to give you that lift. So we'll start by just bringing the palms down and tucking the arms underneath the body. So it's very important here that you bring your entire arms underneath as best you can. Some of you may have tight shoulders and that may be a bit of a challenge, but as best you can, you want to tuck the shoulder blades toward the center so the upper arms are underneath your body, and your butt is kind of on the back of your hands here as your palms face down. Your elbows are tucked underneath you. And notice how just doing this allows a spread of the heart, and maybe this is as far as you'll go. Pressing into the elbows would be the next step, and just press into those elbows and forearms and imagine that string, that golden cord around the heart, lifting you up so your upper arms lift, feel the chest lift, and they're going to bring the top of the head down. If this doesn't feel good for your neck, I'm just going to fix my microphone here so you can hear me. If it doesn't feel good for your neck, then please don't do it. But you're not putting weight on the crown of your head. The weight is being controlled in your elbows here. So you should actually be able to lift and lower your head just by pressing into the elbows, not by using any neck muscles. So the throat is nice and open here, so you can take a deep breath in through the nose and exhale, sticking your tongue out. Open your mouth nice and wide. Clearing out that throat center, throat chakra. And again, one more. Nice and wide open in the heart. Breathe into that open lotus in the center of your chest. To come out of the pose, press into the elbows to lift and let the back of the head come down. And wiggle your arms out and just turn your palms up so that you again integrate with a moment of Shavasana. Just feeling the effects, feeling the reverberation of the pose as prana moves through you. Bend the knees and bring the heels close to the sitting bones, knees stacked over the ankles, preparing for bridge pose. Turn your palms down. Let's take a few bridge rolls. So lifting, pressing the low back into the mat. Lift the tailbone, then roll the sacrum off, roll lumbar spine off, middle back, upper back, lift as high as you can, press your hip pointers to the sky. As you exhale, you're going to roll back down like you're laying down that string of pearls, one pearl at a time, letting the sacrum settle down onto the mat. And do a couple more of those, just synchronizing your breath, your long, slow breaths with the lifting and the lowering of the spine, peeling the spine off of the mat and slowly lowering it down. Maybe this will be your bridge practice today, just a dynamic moving bridge, if that feels good, if it feels good to synchronize breathing and movement and isolating those different movements of each vertebra. This is very great for the abdominal muscles. Or if you want to take it into a holding bridge, lifting up the next time you roll up, press the top of the chin toward the chest. If it's available, you can tuck your shoulder blades toward one another, interlace your fingers, straight arms, pressing the outer edge of the hands down into the mat. Lift through the hips, engage inner thighs so the knees stay over the ankles. Lots of breath here. Hips are higher than the heart expanding toward the chin. Heart is higher than the head. Breathe and enjoy. Using your Ujjayi breath, brushing the back of the throat. When you're ready to release, start by unclasping the fingers and roll down from the shoulders, between the shoulders, middle back, lower back. Settle in, hug your thighs in toward the ribs. Maybe rock side to side. I'm going to take that bridge again, and this time I'm going to invite you to come into a variation that opens the hips. We're going to take it into a pigeon, a pigeon bridge, or a figure 4 bridge. Some of you might find that this is more accessible to do with a block underneath your sacrum. So if you need that, you can certainly use that as a way to support yourself doing this. Otherwise, those of you who want to invite a little bit more fire into the practice here can roll up into your bridge pose. If you clasp hands, you can take that. Settling into Setu Bandhasana here for the second round, we'll take it into lifting your right leg straight up to the sky. And as you do that, you want the leg to be perpendicular to the floor. So straight up, going vertical. And see if you can do that, keeping the hips level. And keeping the hips from sinking down as you lift that one leg. So it's going to feel strong on your left leg. And then taking it into a figure four pose, bring above the ankle, right to the left thigh, and try to open your hips enough so that your knees are level with one another and hips stay level. Maybe it won't, maybe you'll find some sinking, and that's, that may happen with a lot of us, but that's what we want to work toward. And don't worry if that's not available in your body. Oh yeah. Can you keep that bridge lift without letting the pelvis sink down? Oh yeah, open those hips nice and wide. And when you're ready to release, you're going to roll down, keeping the figure four legs. Roll down and draw your left thigh in toward your belly. Clasp your hands either behind your left thigh or around your left shin, taking figure four. Supine pigeon. You want your right foot to be past your thigh. So the ankle, you're not pressing on the ankle, but above the ankle. And that allows the right elbow to press into the inner thigh on the right side, giving you a little more leverage for that hip opener. Yum, 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 yum. Send your breath there. Any place where it's tight. And then releasing. Bring your feet back into bridge preparation. And we'll roll up into bridge. Clasp hands. Some of you may find it's just easier to have your hands down by your side. That's fine. And let the left leg lift straight up. Can you do that without losing the integrity of the lifted hips? Lead with the heel. Press the heel up to the sky. Keep the heart open. Keep the shoulder blades squeezing toward the center of your spine. When you're ready to take it into your figure four, see if you can keep the hips from dropping. Bring the outside edge of the left knee down toward the floor. Hips nice and wide open. Lift, lift, lift. Breathe. And when you're ready to roll down, keep your legs in the figure four and just transition right into supine pigeon. Drawing your right thigh in toward your right rib cage area and using your left elbow to press into your left inner thigh, pressing that, opening that hip a little bit more. Sweeping Ujjayi breath, sending it where it's tight. Breathe and enjoy. Make sure the backs of the shoulders are soft into the mat. You don't need to be curling your head up here. Just let your head and shoulders relax on the mat. If you find that that's very tight on your shoulders to reach your leg, you can always put a blanket underneath your shoulders if you need to. When you're ready to release, unwind. Maybe you want to take it into your happy baby here. It's always a nice one to do after bridge, pressing the sacrum down into the floor, grabbing the feet anywhere that you have access, inside, outside, or maybe even just grabbing ankles. Your knees want to be wider than your rib cage so that the inner thighs can kind of come down and frame the rib cage as you pull on the feet. And then release the legs, bring the inner thighs together, bring your hands out to T position, palms down, and your legs like you're in a chair, sitting down in a chair, but you're on your back. So your thighs are going straight up and down, knees in line with the pelvis, and the lower legs parallel to the floor. Keep your inner thighs together as you flow side to side with breath. So what's going to happen here is as you draw the knees up to center, you take an in-breath. As they come down to one side, you're going to take a nice, long, slow exhale, but let the knees just hover. Let the outer thigh and knee hover above the floor. So you're not actually releasing into the twist. You're taking a nice twist, but engaging your abdominal muscles and keeping them engaged as you flow side to side with breath. And the gaze turns, the head turns opposite the knees. You want to keep that L shape of your legs. So you don't want to let the heels sink down toward the hips. Keep that 90-degree angle of the legs as you flow side to side. If you notice that it's hard to keep your inner thighs together, you can bring a block in between them, and that will train those inner thighs to stay firm and stable. Flowing side to side. If you need something gentler here, if this is feeling like it's fatiguing on your belly muscles, you can just bring your tippy toes down to the floor and just let your knees flow side to side. So at least we're getting that nice twisting action. And then next time the knees come over to your right side, just let yourself relax into the twist. Melt the back of the left shoulder into the mat. Turn your gaze to the left. Staying in a revolved abdomen twist. Find your breath. You stay there for a moment. My dog is whimpering to go out. I'm just going to open the door for him. All right. And then when you're ready to take it into the twist on the other side, letting the knees fall to the other side, keeping that L shape. So you're going to go now to the left, gaze turns toward the right, and the back of the right shoulder softens into the mat. Just try to soften into this. Release, you can let your eyes closed, help relax into the spinal twist. And when you're ready to come out of your twist, bring the knees back up to center. And bring the soles of the feet together. Let the legs open to make the shape of a diamond. So you're in your reclining goddess pose or supine bound angle. And you can either bring the hands into goddess arms, where you're just like we did when we did the standing goddess, the backs of the hands resting on the mat. Or you can bring one hand onto your belly below the navel, one hand to the center of your chest, to follow that sacred rhythm of your breathing. If you need to place blocks or a folded blanket underneath your thighs to support yourself so that you're comfortable, this is quite a stretch on the inner thighs for many people. And for the hips, if you need that support, you can do that, or even just take your fists and place your fists underneath your thighs. Allow this passive pose to open the hips, one breath at a time. Let your eyes close. No action needed here, just surrender. It's just a melting. Staying connected with the long, slow flow of breath. I want to offer you these words from Joanna Macy. As we began our practice, honoring the circle of all beings and all of those elements, the water, the fire, the air, the earth, that make up our bodies and make up the world around us, that we share this ecosystem with, that create the ecosystem. Here's some beautiful poetic reflection from Joanna Macy and John Seed. What are you? What am I? Intersecting cycles of water, earth, air, and fire. That's what I am. That's what you are. Water, blood, lymph, mucus, sweat, tears, inner oceans tugged by the moon, tides within and tides without. Streaming fluid, floating in our cells, washing and nourishing through endless riverways of gut and vein and capillary. Moisture pouring in and through and out of you, of me, in the vast poem of the hydrological cycle. You are that. I am that. Earth, matter made from rock and soil. It too is pulled by the moon as the magma circulates through the planet heart and roots suck molecules into biology. Earth pours through us, replacing each cell in the body every 7 years. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. We ingest, incorporate, and excrete the earth. We are made from the earth. I am that. You are that. Air, the gaseous realm, the atmosphere, the planet's membrane. The inhale and the exhale. Breathing out carbon dioxide to the trees and breathing in their fresh exudations. Oxygen kissing each cell awake, atoms dancing in orderly metabolism, interpenetrating. That dance of the air cycle, breathing the universe in and out again, is what you are. is what I am. Fire. Fire from our sun that fuels all life, drawing up plants and raising the waters to the sky to fall again, replenishing. The inner furnace of your metabolism burns with the fire of the Big Bang that first sent energy and matter spinning through space and time. And the same fire as the lightning that flashed into the primordial soup, catalyzing the birth of organic life. You were there. I was there. For each cell of our bodies is descended in an unbroken chain from that event. And as you're ready, in your own way and your own time, please transition into Shavasana. So you can take your hands to the outsides of your thighs and draw them up so that your inner thighs come together. Maybe giving yourself a hug here. And then extending your legs along your mat, palms turned up. Your arms are going to be about 45-degree angle from the body. With those upturned palms, you enter into that gesture of receptivity. To let those rivers of prana, life energy, flow through all those meridians to every cell. You can tuck your shoulder blades toward one another. And this time, release any control of your breathing. Just let the breath find its natural rhythm. Eyes closed. Just sensing the movement of your own internal energy. So in yoga, there is that 1/5 element, space or ether or emptiness. It's all pervasive and expansive. And it is present within the body as the space between your cells and what's known as the Anandamaya kosha or bliss body. It is the universal intelligence and your innermost essential nature. Spacious awareness. Offer yourself into that. May I walk in beauty. May I walk in peace. May I walk in beauty. May I walk in peace. relations, all my relations. All life is sacred, the mountains and the seas. All life is sacred, the animals and the trees. All my relations. All my relations. Begin to deepen your breath now. Bring some movement into your fingers and into your toes. And invite in any movement that feels good to bring you back into your body, to present moment. Maybe a long stretch, or maybe folding your knees in, giving yourself an embrace. May I walk in beauty, may I walk in peace, may I walk in beauty, may I walk in peace. And roll over onto one side into your fetal position. All my relations, all my relations. Slowly pressing yourself up to a seated position. And bringing the hands together. I'll come over here, be closer to you here. Palms in Anjali Mudra prayer position. Once again, honoring the circle of all beings. All of the creatures, all of the elements, this miraculous ecological system that we live within. Let's take a deep breath in and join our voices together in the sound of Om. Om. Namaste, everyone. Thank you.